So I just saw My Hero Academia World Heroes Mission in the theaters, which we knew how we actually see the third movie, which is the sequel to the second movie, which is Heroes Rising, and the first movie, Two Heroes, which this one is where we have all the characters in one movie, which we knew how they were going to work together to stop a villain capable of destroy all quirks. And this is also the first time that we didn't see the League of Villains involved, which they knew they would never do anything like this. So here's the movie review, which the movie begins in a mansion where we see the main villain, whose name Fleck Turn, who is the leader of the group called the Humorize, which they actually talk about how the quirks are sickness and they need to be destroyed, which he will cleanse the world of any quirks for the quirkless, which he say for humanity's salvation, in which they will use wherever they can necessary to defeat all quirks. That in which we see how they will release the bombs until one of the members named Alan Kay have had enough of the madness, so he decided to flee, in which Fleck has unleashed the bomb in a city, causing the green gas to kill everyone, where they call it the Edo trigger, which anyone who's breathing it will be dead as well, all except for the quirkless, who was offered the role of the membership. That is when the heroes have learned about the terrorists that actually happened. So they created the All-Star World Hero Association, where all the heroes from around the world have gathered across the world to stop the Humorize, which of course work in 25 branches. That includes the heroes from UA High, Class 1A, and Class 1B, working with the top heroes, in which they all over where they actually set up their bases, which includes in Egypt, France, Japan, and the USA, where we knew they actually worked together to stop them. Oh, and also Singapore. That includes Izuku, Bakugo, and Todoroki with Endeavor on Darion. I mean, Alderaan, which of course they have their stealth gear where they're actually racing to the base, in which they have made it inside to find the bomb. However, they couldn't find the bomb, in which we see how Alan Kay have actually is on the run when we knew how he's going to find what he needs to do to get the heroes the message. Meanwhile, in the city, we seen a street urchin named Rolly Soul, who actually taking care of his siblings, Roro and Lala, and with his bird companion named Pino, in which they actually knew how he actually got a job where he working with a barkeeper named Stan Lee, in which we see how Izuku, Bakugo, and Todoroki are working with groceries, knowing how they are doing errands as lowest ranking members of the hero team. knowing how they really are only interns. But that is when they actually heard about the humorize threaten the quirk and the superhuman society, which in the quirk singularity theory. But then we saw the jewel robbery at hand. That's when they decide to respond quickly. That is when we see one of them gave Rhodey the case, in which this is the first time we see Izuku using the black whip in the movie, which we see him spot Rhodey where he avoid him, in which he chased him through the train where Alan Quick have actually realized that a human rights agent named Beatrice have actually spotted him using her quirk that allows her to create a longbow through her fingers like this and using arrows, where we knew that he actually switched the briefcase where Izuku have finally caught him, in which there's nothing in the briefcase that he actually have. So we knew how he would apologize, in which he decided to run, until police actually caught up with them and decided to escape, which knowingly how they realized of why they're actually after them, in which we knew that he was a suspect after Endeavor berates them of disobeying their orders, in which they've actually learned that Izuku has been accused of mass murder of 12 people, in which everyone, including his own classmates, couldn't believe their eyes, in which they knew that Izuku would never do anything like this, in which we see how Todoroki told Izuku to destroy his phone or the chip because they can track him with GPS, which that actually is true. And so now wanted fugitives, which Izuku and Rhodey had decided to be on the run, which Rhodey is upset that he is his accomplice. Knowing the fact that they had to clear their names, they had to be out of sight, which we knew that Clairvoyance, one of the members of Endeavor's team, in which her quirk is clearly clairvoyance, in which we see her giving Todoroki a coded message about the investigation, which the jewels have been left on the scene. But he actually has a coded message from Izuku that their next destination is at Clave, in which he and Bakugo decided to go over there where they knew that Izuku is in trouble. Meanwhile, we see how the police chief have actually working with a humorize, knowing that they're on the move on Clave, in which we see how they've made it to a farmhouse, which is Izuku and Rhodey, which they actually talk about his past, where we knew that his father, Eddie Soul, is a great engineer who actually is have many appreciation for his family, until he gave him a puzzle box for him to solve, which he gave him a locket, which is a gift for taking care of his brother and sister. That is when he disappeared to join the Humorize, making him and his siblings to kick out every home they ever lived, and their friends have actually abandoned him as well, only live on the shady town, which he hated his father for joining the Humorize, all except for the necklace that he has, which he broke due to his anger, in which he cannot lose his siblings and let them suffer for what happened, So when Izuku was asleep, he decided to take the case and abandon him, which we see Pino waking him up and actually tells him where he is. That's when Brody spots a helicopter until another human-raised agent, Rogon, had actually transformed and attacked them, and B-Rolls have actually shoot an arrow, but at Izuku, who is hurt during the process, in which they have escaped as well, which means that they have gotten a truck while treating his injuries. And during the road, they have respect for each other, in which we knew how they have made it to their destination, but they cannot go any further because the truck is run out of gas and they cannot be seen because of the people in the train. So we knew how B-Rolls have actually found them with another human-raised agent named Saro. Until they were actually was attacked, we see Bakugo and Todoroki have saved their life, which we see the same puzzle box, knowing that it contains a device which from Broly's father Eddie, which contains a chip in the device. However, knowing of how the information of their escape have made it to Flick, he actually broadcasts the news all over the world, telling them that they will save humanity with the trigger bombs they have placed all over the 25 cities around the world, which they only have 2 hours for the bombs to explode, which we knew how time is running out as the heroes gather to find the bombs, in which we see how everyone is panicking. That's when they actually heard from Alan Kay that he worked for the scientist who was forced on the trigger bombs along with Eddie Soul, who sacrificed himself to actually create a key that will shut down the bombs for good, which the device is the key, in which we knew how they will use it to shut down all the bombs. And that's when the heroes, which is Izuku, Bakugo, and Todoroki. So we actually see Rody had decided to join with everyone, which is Izuku, Bakugo, and Todoroki, to head over to the location to where the broadcast is, in which we knew that the Humorites are still in their base, which we see Rody flying over there with a plane because it's his dream to become a pilot, in which we see everyone else have actually deal with the bombs, which we knew how they are gearing up to battle them with less than 30 minutes till detonation, in which we see how everyone scattered to find the bombs, in which Izuku, Todoroki, and Bakugo had decided to make it towards the base until the strongest members of the group had decided to battle them, which first Bakugo battled the twin killers of Super Terrors, which their quirks actually are sword kills, which is their ability to perform blaze onto their bodies, which caused a disadvantage for Bakugo, but he managed to beat them. But they using a drug that would cause them to have their powers increase. We knew how Bakugo having a hard time battling them, but he decided to take the uh, the new attack by firing both his gauntlets at them while they're trapped. He's using his ultimate move, Hollister Impact, to defeat them before he actually pass out due to the blood loss. Meanwhile, while Izuku and Todoroki have broke through the defenses, we see Todoroki battling another member who is actually using his quirk called Leviathan, which a big man who is a beast, which Todoroki actually using his powers, but he is actually proved that he actually has his own quirk, which is the helical sight, which Leviathan is overpowering him. But he realized that he can use the opportunity while underwater to escape him to use his flash freeze heat wave, but he broke through and tried to burn him. But he using his Jetfire Fist Jet Kindling to defeat him, which that is his ultimate move, and actually fall down to the waterfall, which we see Izuku made it towards the base and battling Fleck Turn all by himself, which we knew how his quirk, which he has for the first time, which reflecting any attacks that actually happens towards him, in which we knew how every attack that Izuku actually made, which his quirk reflect actually happens where we knew Izuku is hurt. But Rhodey appeared after surviving the crash with only 5 minutes left. He gave him the device, which he tried not to be a hero, which he's tried to give him the device. But he actually say that his quirk is Pino, which he actually throw the device in the air where Pino caught it and decided to run, where we knew that we see Rhodey was hurt fatally, knowing that he's on his way to disarm the bomb, which we see Izuku stopping him by using the new attack called the United States of World Smash on Fleck and defeating him in the process, in which, with time running out, Rhodey at the last minute have disarmed the bomb, in which they've actually celebrated their victory with the fact that the bombs have removed out of the ray safely and the Humorize have been arrested along with the corrupt police officers, in which they've begun their recovery, which they've all headed back to their homes, in which Izuku has said goodbye to Rhodey, where he decided to get on his work, where all the students made it back to UA High along with the rest of the students, which is Ida, Ashido, Toa, and Koda, along with Ayuma, who didn't go to the Heroes Study, which they stayed behind, and they were greeted and celebrated through their success, along with All Might, who is proud that Izuku stopped Fleck. Meanwhile, we see Rhodey get on his work and also helping his siblings while he began his studies to become a pilot while working at the bar, in which he got his dream as well. Now, between the Demon Slayer Mugen Train movie and this one, I actually love this movie because it has all the heroes involved, plus the main villain bent on world domination, which his plot is destroying all quirks. But the superhumans are human beings as well. And also, we saw how the League of Villains didn't get involved because they knew that they actually wanted to rule the world, but on their own occurs. So we're going to see what's going to happen later on, in which this movie takes place during the fifth season. So I cannot wait to see what's going to happen on the season six, coming on next year. So anyway, like this video, subscribe for more, and comment what you think about the movie review. You guys can also follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, and my Facebook page and Twitch. Until then, this is Anime Guy Jordan here saying signing out. Laters, and be safe.